Have you ever found yourself stuck in a conversation or situation, not because you wanted to be there, but because somehow you were made to feel like you had no choice? That's the subtle art of manipulation, a tactic as old as time itself, yet still as relevant today as it was in the age of the ancient Stoics. Even Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, warned us about the manipulative tactics that can turn our virtues against us. In today's world, where social media, instant communication, and endless opportunities for comparison flood our lives, manipulation often feels like an invisible thread pulling us in directions we never intended to go. But what if I told you that understanding the signs of manipulation and anchoring ourselves in the wisdom of Stoicism could offer us not just a shield, but a way to navigate these waters with grace and personal integrity? We're about to dive into the signs that reveal when you're being manipulated, and how the timeless teachings of Stoicism can empower you to reclaim your freedom, your choices, and your inner peace. Let's get started. Number 1. The endless test of worth. Imagine being in a relationship or situation where it feels like you're constantly on trial, always having to prove your worth, your love, your loyalty, again and again. It's like your value as a person is always being questioned. No matter how much you give, it never seems to be enough. This is manipulation at its core, the attempt to make you doubt your intrinsic value. From a Stoic perspective, this tactic is toxic because it plays on the idea that our worth is something that can be given or taken away by others. But the Stoics understood that our worth is inherent. It's not for anyone else to define. Marcus Aurelius, in his writings, stressed the importance of being true to yourself, no matter what external pressures might try to sway you. He believed that the opinions of others should not disturb our inner tranquility. So, when you find yourself in these endless tests, recognize it for what it is, a manipulation designed to make you doubt your intrinsic value. Here's the Stoic twist. It's not about proving your worth to others. It's about recognizing your own worth and standing firm in it. Remember, no one has the right to make you feel less than. You are. As Epictetus wisely put it, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So, stop seeking validation from others. The true test is not for your love or loyalty, it's for your self-respect. And when someone tries to make you prove your worth, remember, you've already passed that test just by being your authentic self. Number 2. The shadows of communication. Imagine walking through a thick fog, where you can barely see what's ahead, and the true intentions behind people's words remain elusive. This is what shadowy communication feels like, those moments when someone's words say one thing, but their tone, actions, and energy say something entirely different. It's like trying to read a book with half the pages torn out. You get the general idea, but the full story remains hidden, leaving you to fill in the blanks, often with doubts and insecurities. The Stoics had a powerful antidote to this kind of manipulation: clarity. They believed in direct, straightforward communication because they understood that the truth, no matter how blunt, was always better than a comforting lie. Marcus Aurelius, in particular, advocated for saying what you mean and meaning what you say. This simple principle cuts through the fog of ambiguous communication and illuminates the truth. Why do manipulators thrive in these shadows? Ambiguity is their ally. By avoiding clear communication, they avoid accountability. I was just joking, they might say. You're reading too much into it, they'll claim. This keeps you in a perpetual state of confusion, where you're less likely to challenge them or assert your own needs. But Stoicism teaches us to seek clarity, to ask direct questions, and to refuse to engage in the guessing game. We can control our reactions, and we can choose to step into the light of clear, honest interaction. So, in your conversations, strive for the Stoic ideal of straightforwardness. Ask for clarification when needed. Express your needs openly. By doing this, you'll dispel the shadows of manipulation and invite others to step into the light with you. Number 3. The maze of gaslighting. Now, imagine walking through a labyrinth where every turn feels like you're on the right path, but somehow, you always end up questioning if you've been going in circles. Gaslighting is like that. It's a manipulative tactic that makes you doubt your own reality, your memories, and sometimes your sanity. A gaslighter might deny things they've said or done, or twist the truth so skillfully that you start questioning your perceptions. The Stoics, with their deep focus on the power of our mind and perception, offer a guiding light out of this maze. They emphasize trusting your judgment and the evidence of your senses. Epictetus reminded us to differentiate between what's within our control, our perceptions, beliefs, and judgments, and what is not. So, when faced with gaslighting, the Stoic practice of grounding yourself in your own perception becomes a crucial defense. Why is gaslighting so effective? It exploits our need for stability and truth in our understanding of the world. By destabilizing our perception of reality, the gaslighter gains control. But the Stoics teach us that we don't need external validation to know what's true. Marcus Aurelius reminded us to trust in our own reason and judgment, as these are our most reliable guides. Breaking free from gaslighting starts with this Stoic realization. While we can't control others, we can control how we respond to them. We can choose not to engage in the manipulation. We can document our experiences, seek support, and most importantly, trust in the evidence of our senses. Your truth doesn't need to be validated by someone who seeks to manipulate it. Stand firm in your reality, and you'll find your way out of the maze. Number 4, just joking. A veil for disrespect. Imagine sharing a laugh with someone, and then suddenly, a comment is made at your expense. It stings, but before you can even process it, they quickly add, "I was just joking." Now you're left in this uncomfortable space, feeling hurt but questioning if you're being too sensitive. Humor can be a beautiful part of human connection, but when used as a veil for disrespect, it becomes a manipulative tactic. The Stoics understood that the truth doesn't need to be masked by humor, and that respect for others is a core principle. If a joke undermines your dignity or makes you feel less than, it's not humor, it's manipulation. In these situations, Stoicism teaches us to stand firm in our self-respect. Don't allow others to use humor as a shield for disrespect. Set clear boundaries and communicate openly when something crosses the line. You have the right to be treated with dignity, and you don't need to laugh at the expense of your own worth. Manipulation is a powerful force, but Stoicism offers a timeless blueprint for recognizing and resisting it. By grounding ourselves in our own values, seeking clarity, and staying true to our perceptions, we can navigate the complexities of human interaction with strength, grace, and integrity. Humor, when used as a means to belittle or manipulate, loses its lightness and turns into a weapon, a tool to test boundaries under the guise of comedy. The Stoics, with their deep reverence for respect and dignity, would undoubtedly view this as a deviation from the path of virtue. Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher, frequently emphasized harmony in relationships and the strength of character. He would likely argue that true strength lies not in putting others down, but in lifting them up. When someone hides their disrespect behind humor, it is not just a harmless joke. It reveals their own insecurities and inability to communicate respectfully. But why do some resort to this tactic? It's an attempt to assert dominance while maintaining plausible deniability. It's just a joke, they might say, but underneath it, there's often an unspoken agenda. This is not about being overly sensitive. It's about recognizing subtle manipulation and standing firm against it. Stoicism teaches us to maintain our inner peace and dignity, no matter what external provocations come our way. Marcus Aurelius would likely advise us to approach these situations with equanimity, to reflect on the intent behind such jokes. The Stoic goal isn't to retaliate, but to acknowledge that we have the power to choose how others affect us. Stoicism also values clear and direct communication. If a joke hurts, it's perfectly valid to express that. Setting boundaries on what's acceptable and what's not is a key part of maintaining our integrity. True humor, from a Stoic perspective, should bring joy and connection, not discomfort or pain. So the next time someone delivers a just joking jab, stand firm in your truth. Laughter should be a bridge, not a barrier. Picture a situation where conflict arises, and instead of engaging in a fair discussion or seeking resolution, one party immediately plays the victim, turning the conversation into a one-sided narrative where they are blameless and without fault. This isn't just a play for sympathy, it's a calculated move designed to shift blame, avoid responsibility, and manipulate the situation. For the Stoics, this behavior clashes deeply with their philosophy of personal responsibility, honesty, and the pursuit of virtue. Epictetus, a key Stoic figure, taught that while we can't control external events, how we interpret and respond to them is entirely within our control. Playing the victim card is a way to manipulate this very control, twisting the narrative to evade accountability. But why is this tactic so effective? It preys on our compassion and our innate desire to help those who seem to be suffering. When someone plays the victim, it triggers a natural response in us to alleviate their pain, often at the cost of our own needs, or worse, at the expense of truth itself. It's a form of emotional manipulation that puts us in an impossible position. Challenge the victim's narrative and seem heartless, or accept it and allow the manipulation to continue. Stoicism offers a powerful counter. It encourages us to seek clarity and truth above emotional reaction. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly urged us to look beneath the surface, to see things for what they are, and to act with justice and integrity. When faced with someone playing the victim, the Stoic response is to pause, reflect, and not immediately give in to emotional manipulation. It's about finding a balance between compassion and discernment, understanding the difference between genuine suffering and manipulative tactics. Stoicism doesn't advocate for coldness or indifference. Instead, it teaches us to care wisely, to offer support without enabling deceit or avoiding responsibility. We maintain our integrity, even in the face of manipulation, and encourage others to take accountability for their actions. Imagine someone showering you with kindness, gifts, favors, and attention. At first, it seems like an act of pure generosity. But over time, you start noticing a pattern. These acts of kindness come with expectations, obligations, and sometimes even an unspoken price. What initially seemed like warmth and support now feels like a transaction. This isn't genuine kindness. It's manipulation disguised as generosity. The Stoics, with their deep understanding of human behavior, were keenly aware of this dynamic. They recognized the importance of true generosity, the kind that expects nothing in return. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, often spoke of the highest form of giving, offering help or gifts without expecting anything in return, because the act itself is the reward. When kindness is offered with strings attached, it ceases to be kindness. Instead, it becomes a tool for manipulation, a way to create a sense of indebtedness. The manipulator bets on your good nature and reluctance to seem ungrateful, turning every act of kindness into a subtle transaction. Why do people use this tactic? It's about creating an obligation, a psychological leverage where you feel compelled to reciprocate, often against your own interests or values. Stoicism offers a clear solution: independence. The Stoics taught the value of self-sufficiency, not just in material terms, but emotionally and morally. Marcus Aurelius, reflecting on Stoic wisdom, urged us to act virtuously for its own sake, not for reward or recognition. When we face kindness with strings attached, the Stoic approach is to recognize it for what it is, a manipulation tactic. We can appreciate the gesture without falling into the trap of indebtedness. We maintain our autonomy and set clear boundaries, remembering that true kindness is unconditional, not a transaction. Imagine you open up to someone about a struggle you're experiencing, only to have it dismissed as insignificant, or worse, compared to someone else's supposed greater suffering. This isn't just a lack of empathy, it's a deliberate attempt to undermine your feelings and make you feel small. The Stoics, who placed great value on emotional resilience and the power of perception, would see this as a deviation from the path of understanding and compassion. Epictetus, a core Stoic figure, taught that it's not the events themselves, but how we react to them, that shapes our experience. When someone minimizes your feelings, they're not just dismissing your emotions, they're trying to control how you feel. Why do people engage in this behavior? Often, it's a defense mechanism, a way to deflect attention from their own vulnerabilities or insecurities. By belittling your emotions, they attempt to maintain an illusion of strength, while eroding trust and intimacy. Stoicism offers a counter to this manipulation. It teaches us to be self-aware and to validate our own emotions. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the importance of acknowledging our feelings without letting them overwhelm us. Stoicism encourages us to recognize that our feelings are real, valid, and worthy of attention, regardless of whether others validate them. So, how do we respond when our feelings are minimized? With Stoic resolve, we can choose to affirm our own experiences internally and seek respectful communication when necessary. We don't have to accept dismissal, but we do have the power to respond with self-respect, preserving our emotional integrity while engaging with others thoughtfully. There are times when others will never truly understand or acknowledge our emotions. This is their journey, not ours. When we find ourselves in situations where our feelings are dismissed or minimized, it's important to remember the Stoic principles of self-validation and emotional resilience. You, and only you, are the ultimate authority on your emotions. You have the power to recognize, honor, and give space to your feelings, regardless of what others may say or do. By doing so, you not only honor your truth but also maintain your inner peace, independent of external validation or rejection. This Stoic approach goes beyond simply protecting ourselves from being invalidated. It transforms the way we relate to our emotions, turning them into sources of strength and self-awareness. When you truly accept your feelings without needing anyone else's permission, you unlock the power to grow and live authentically. On the flip side, there is the phenomenon of calm superiority, a tactic where someone feigns serenity to make you feel irrational, emotional, or out of control by comparison. This subtle form of manipulation is designed to make you question the validity of your feelings and reactions. But from a Stoic perspective, this so-called calm is a distortion of true inner peace. The Stoics, like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, prize tranquility not as a weapon to belittle others, but as a means to better understand oneself and respond to life's challenges with wisdom and virtue. So why do some use this fake calm to manipulate? It's a strategy to maintain control, to position themselves as rational and composed while making you seem overly emotional. But Stoicism offers a powerful tool here, the ability to distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot. We cannot control another person's need to assert superiority, but we can control our reactions and our inner peace. By focusing on our own emotional responses, we don't need external validation to prove our worth. When confronted with this illusion of superiority, remember that your emotions are real, your reactions are valid, and there's no need to engage in a competition over who can stay calm longer. True peace comes from being at ease with your own emotions, not from suppressing them to meet someone else's standard. Lastly, there's the toxic form of manipulation known as emotional blackmail. Picture someone close to you using your love, your fears, or even your sense of duty against you, demanding that you do something if you really care, or threatening harm if you don't comply. This type of manipulation is a betrayal, exploiting the very bonds that should bring us strength and connection. Stoicism, with its emphasis on virtue, integrity, and personal freedom, provides an antidote to emotional blackmail. The Stoics taught that we should be guided by our internal moral compass, not by the coercive pressures of others. Marcus Aurelius, for example, would encourage us to approach such manipulation with patience and understanding, while remaining firm in our principles. We are responsible for our responses, but not for the emotional turmoil others may try to impose on us. Understanding the motivations behind emotional blackmail helps us recognize that those who use it often feel powerless themselves. They may resort to manipulation to control their environment or secure emotional stability. However, their approach is flawed, as it seeks to fill internal voids with external compliance, a strategy that is ultimately unsustainable and harmful. Stoicism teaches us to meet this manipulation with compassion, but also with clear boundaries. We must remember that we have the power to choose our responses, to set limits, and to preserve our inner peace. In doing so, we uphold the Stoic commitment to living with integrity and fostering healthy, balanced relationships. Finally, when kindness is exploited, Stoicism provides clarity. Imagine offering your kindness freely, only to have it used as a tool for manipulation. This form of exploitation preys on the benevolent, turning generosity into an obligation, leaving the giver drained and unappreciated. Stoicism encourages us to approach kindness with wisdom, ensuring our actions are aligned with virtue and not taken advantage of by others. In facing exploitation, Stoicism advises that we remain generous, but with boundaries that protect our well-being. Our kindness should be based on virtue, not expectation. By being judicious in where and how we offer our energy, we can prevent our generosity from becoming an avenue for manipulation. Through all these forms of manipulation, whether it's emotional blackmail, calm superiority, or exploiting kindness, Stoicism offers a guide to navigating life's challenges with virtue, integrity, and resilience. In the end, the goal isn't just to endure these manipulations, but to emerge wiser, stronger, and more resilient, building an inner sanctuary where we remain steadfast in our truth.